Final story today, guys. This one here, this woman right here, she's a teacher, was a teacher, right? Who is currently spending time in jail. And I'm gonna give you one guess as to why a teacher is spending time, a female teacher is spending time in jail in this day and age. Well, if you guessed that it's because she had sexual intercourse with the student, you'd be correct. And the male student here has actually been awarded $2.1 million by the school district. Yeah, right. When's the last time you heard about that happening? Right, where a male student. See, this is the thing. I do want to point this out. This kind of crap right here is literally an epidemic. It's a problem. Teachers, female teachers in positions of power having relations with male students, and it is never, ever, 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 ever given the same amount of attention, the same amount of fervor, the same amount of outrage that if it were the reverse sexes here. And I will show you the comments on this article as we go through it, because that backs it up entirely. People have such a different sensibility when it comes to this particular story, that, they don't view this as rape or molestation. They view this as like, nice, right? Where were those teachers when I was in school? No, you don't. Like, look, if you got a hot teacher in school, you might fantasize about having sex with her. You might rub a couple out thinking about it. And that's perfectly fine. That's natural. But if she comes on to you, that's illegal. Just saying. All right, so a jury in San Diego decided Wednesday that a 19-year-old man who sued a California school district after being sexually abused by a female teacher should receive $2.1 million. The jurors found that the San Diego Unified School District was negligent in failing to prevent former Spanish teacher Toni Sutton from molesting the student over an 8-month period, beginning when he was 15 and she was 37. The district must pay $840,000 of the $2.1 million, adding that district officials have not decided yet whether they're going to appeal. Honestly, I don't think San Diego is going to appeal. They kind of bend over backwards for a lot of this stuff. They really do. I mean, when I was in school down there, down in San Diego, there were rumors that like some of what we called the narcs, they were the security team, were in relationship with were some of the cheerleaders that were there. So, I mean, you hear about this like pretty much in every school. And I think that, look, it's been called out. They should pay it. If they were, this is over an 8-month period of time that she was with this guy. It's not like like a one-time thing, right? That wouldn't even, I'm not saying that makes it any better if that clearly doesn't. I'm talking about just like the frequency and how often these kind of things happen, because here's the thing. It says here, Sutton, who's now 40, was sentenced to prison 2 years ago in the case, had sex with a student in her Crawford High School classroom, her car, and her home dozens of times. So not only was she having sex with the student in the classroom, she took her work home with her and in her car multiple times, dozens of times. That's not good. That is not good at all. Now, Sutton pled guilty in 2016 to unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor and oral copulation with a minor. She was ordered to register as a sex offender for life. The lawsuit argued that the district ignored red flags about Sutton's behavior. Key to their case was an expert's testimony that the school district's policy for preventing sexual abuse of students did not meet the standard. Well, I wonder what that even means. I mean, like, did they just kind of overlook it maybe at first? Were there rumors? I mean, 8 months of this thing to go on without anyone talking about it is kind of a weird thing, right? Like, it's very much a weird thing. There was a case I covered last year, I think, where a teacher in Texas, like 22-year-old or whatever teacher in Texas, had relationships with two 17-year-old students and whatnot. And one of them knew about the other one because she kind of left him for him. But then again, the age of consent in Texas is 17. So it's this weird kind of law in that regard. Still abuse of power, absolutely 100%. But it is always kind of looked at, like people talk. So 8 months of this happening and the 15-year-old wasn't bragging to his friends that Miss Sutton sucked him off in the back of her Honda Civic, probably like happened. And they maybe just looked the other way because, again, when it comes to this sort of situation, as we've seen for decades now, it never gets the same level of attention. But if this was a male's teacher and a female student, it would have been like there would have been Nancy Grace would have been down there 24/7 to get to the bottom of the sick, depraved, freaking child molester, essentially. But no, we're not getting that here at all. Now, it said the financial award also reflected the jury's consideration of the emotional damage and the need for counseling the student experienced after Sutton was arrested. Defense attorneys denied that the district employees were negligent and said that they responded appropriately once they learned that Sutton had been abusing the student. In a previous case in 2009, a female student was awarded $1.25 million, of which the San Diego district had to pay $650,000 after a male teacher was found to have molested the female student. So, there is a precedent here for students suing the school district and getting paid. I'm assuming that the length of time that the situation was happening, the 8-month period, is one of the things that led to the $2.1 million judgment. But again, like I said, there are people out there. There are people out there that don't view this as really being much of a bad thing. And as the comments I had originally seen that were up top, well, we'll just take a quick look here to give you an idea. Now, these are internet comments, and we know they're generally terrible, but it does kind of give you a bit of an eye into the window, or a bit of a look into the soul of some of these people. We got one here, DKK Kelly, saying, "What a snowflake." Odkins, his reward for being the man in school. Dan Knock 24, whatever. Don't pay the little prick. He doesn't know a good thing when he has it. Trump thy master. I hope my son gets laid by a teacher when he starts high school. I'd be one proud papa. Was it breaking the law for that? An in and out urge, money well spent indeed. Women truly, his dream came true at 15 and again at 19. What a lucky dude. Paying him makes him look like a gigolo. Then you got down here, Dem commies suck with a Confederate flag. And all your amours, it's fall better to love an older woman, for her heart is tempered by sincerity. Her knowledge of the world is greater, and yet I smile. So again, totally in support of it. Get laid, get paid. You got here like Don Pyre saying, bet Junior never complained while he was getting laid. My money's on the fact that mommy and daddy found out and couldn't accept the fact that Junior was physically active. It probably wouldn't have even mattered if the teacher, or if he was with the teacher for another 15-year-old girl. He obviously had nothing to do with it, and he's been horribly scarred emotionally from the experience. Yeah, right. Now mommy and daddy see a nice cash cow. Again, we see another one down here, got laid, got paid. It's... Look at this. She's got to be a lot uglier than that for that kind of payday. Look, this is what I'm talking about here. The situation is entirely different. The way that it's put out there is entirely different. The conversation surrounding it is always entirely different. It's always met with that nice, just the dismissal of the fact that a teacher in a position of power, regardless of gender, has a relationship with a student for 8 months, copulating multiple times in classrooms and cars and homes. And that is not seen as a bad thing. But when the guy sues and he gets 2.1 million as awarded by a jury, it's like, oh, it's just a payday. It's just a cash grab. Mommy and daddy must be proud. It's remarkably terrible in that regard, how people respond to this, because it is something worth considering, to look at. Not everyone's going to have the same reaction to this. Who knows how he felt? We don't know how he felt. He could have enjoyed it. He might have been trying to tell himself that he was enjoying it. And then afterward, he realized he didn't, that he was maybe being groomed, that he was being manipulated, that he had to go see counseling and therapy as a way to get past it. But none of that's even considered, because a lot of men out there, and a lot of women too, think that men only think with their dick. That once the dick gets hard, don't fret. That means you want to go. That means you want a pile driver, a wet, moist, warm hole. Not always the case. But the psychology of men and their erections, again, so overlooked. So overlooked. And you wonder why people speak out against feminism online, because, they don't ever take into account that men and boys have feelings and thoughts and can be injured. Because men can't be injured in their minds. And that's just super, super freaking unfortunate.